Protecting nature is not just a global agenda. It is real work done by real people in real places. Today we are visiting one of these places, Lombardy in Italy. Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of the BIOFIN-EU podcast series. I am Alexia Mastora, Communications Manager at Reino, and today I have the pleasure of hosting Anna Biasin from the Etifor. Hello Anna.
Hello.
Thank you for being here with us. Would you like to tell us a few things about you and your role to the project?
Sure. Nice to meet you. I'm Anna Biasin. I'm working as a project manager in Etifor, that is a benefit corporate, and I'm working in natural governance and financing team.
Lombardy is Italy's economic powerhouse. What is driving businesses and public bodies of the region to start taking biodiversity funding seriously?
Yeah, sure, it's true. I mean, Lombardy we have the main Italian business district, but Lombardy it's also a region where the impact of economic and business activities on natural ecosystem are really increasing. And so I guess that it's not a case if initiative like the Bioclima one emerging right there. More broadly, what is driving biodiversity financing today is a convergence of several trends. First of all, policy and regulation, because public institutions are responding to European restoration and conservation target, and private corporate as well are required to disclose and report their impact on nature. And there's also an increasing interest in following a voluntary framework by corporate investors. So, second, there's a increasing awareness about biodiversity. So a growing recognition that biodiversity loss create a real economic risk. Businesses are becoming more aware that their long-term operational growth depend on healthy ecosystem, and that ecosystem degradation can really affect their operational activities, the supply chain, the water availability, agricultural productivities, and in general the long-term resilience of business activities. So they need to take action, to fight biodiversity loss. And third, there's also a social dimension. I mean, citizens themselves are becoming more sensitive to this topic. They are increasing also sustainable choices and expect institutions and corporates to play a visible role in protecting local landscape and natural resources. And this social expectation, of course, create momentum for initiatives that deliver environmental and local economic benefit. So, to synthesize, I would say that there is a big change going around now. That is, biodiversity is no longer seen simply as a cost to sustain by public bodies or philanthropic institutions, but is increasingly understood as a matter of long risk management and value creation, and a shared responsibility. And this is exactly where initiatives like Bioclima fit in by creating a collective action where public ecological goals and private financial participation are aligned.
That is a clear picture, Anna. In Lombardy, what is really preventing the financial sector from moving into nature-based solution? And also, which obstacles surprises you the most?
I will say that some barriers are more regional and local specific, and others are more structural. I think one of the key points that also are surprising, maybe, is the fact that it's not an issue of lacking of money, but so because private capital is not necessarily missing, But what is still missing is a market structure that makes biodiversity investable at scale. And there's a few reasons for that. First of all, biodiversity is really difficult to translate into financial language. This is because, of course, investors are used to clear metrics, to predictable returns and established risk model. And nature, of course, is following a different language. It creates value in a different way through ecosystem resilience, avoided environmental cost, and the long-term social, environmental, and economic benefit. And those benefits are not always easy to price in monetary terms. So in relation to this, there's an issue of course, measurement and accountability for financial stakeholders. Also, there's a problem of mismatching in terms of time horizon between public and private expectation. Because, of course, nature-based intervention require times to produce impact, but on the other hand, financial institutions generally would like to have shorter return from the investment. Another challenge is fragmentation, and this is very typical in Italy, because, for example, there are a lot of nature-based solution projects, small and really site-specific, and also they are managed by public institutions or not-for-profit actors. And these projects may not have the financial structure that investment are used to or required. And lastly, I would say that there's also a cultural challenge, because for a long time biodiversity has been seen mainly as a public responsibility and not as an investment area for private institutions. So part of the shift is also about changing the way we think about the value of nature. And even if, as I said before, the interest by private sector, private investor is increasing, the real challenge is creating the right mechanism to connect this interest with credible projects on the ground.
That makes a lot of sense. What really made this public-private partnership work, and what attracted private funding? First of all, I really believe that public-private partnership are a model of high value for allowing the shifting of private financial resources to investment project with higher biodiversity and natural impact. And this is because public actors can provide guarantees to private sector. For example, in the case of Bioclima, the regions, so the public institution, participate in creating a well-structured and credible model. So it was not just going to the private sector asking for money, but it proposed a really good project, a really good initiatives, in which they put part of the funding for investing in nature-based solution, and they asked to private sector to co-funding this solution. So the public sector, in this case, operates as a catalyst of private resources. And also in this structure, of course, there was a sharing of risk, responsibility and cost that make the model more attractive for private investors. Another important factor in this model was the role of technical facility that provide technical assistance both public and private actors, and was able to coordinate and align the needs and expectations between the different stakeholders. Another important key element of this model was also scientific credibility, because the NBS, so the nature-based solution that we try to develop, were based on a robust and credible framework for assessing the impact that they would like to achieve.
we adopt a certification, the FSC certification, that was able to tell us what is the impact that we can achieve in terms of ecosystem services impact. And finally, another important point is the community engagement, because we propose communication activities and awareness-raising campaigns that help increasing public acceptability and transform our financial contribution into a longer-term relationship with higher potential of scalability and replication of this model.
That is really a promising model. Now, Anna, looking ahead of the end of the project and from a BIOFIN perspective, what would make you say, yes, this is what we achieved, or that went well?
Yeah, sure. I would say that some of the aspects that proven particularly important for the success of the model are also closely aligned with the topics that BIOFIN is currently exploring. And this is encouraging because it means that we are going in the right direction, hopefully. For example, one of the main important things is the role of intermediaries. In Bioclima, as I said before, the technical facility has been crucial in facilitating the dialogue between public and private sector, and also to create this multi-stakeholder coordination model. In BIOFIN, we are trying to deepen the role of intermediary and their skill as well, and this is very promising for the upscaling of this kind of project. Second, also BIOFIN is recognizing the importance of co-financing model and the importance of putting together financial resources from private and public institutions. Another important achievement in Bioclima and also in BIOFIN is the fact that we understood that biodiversity is a shared responsibility, so it's essential to develop a collective action to take care about biodiversity and natural capital in general. And so it's very important also to involve local stakeholders when we are going to develop these kind of initiatives that need to be not a top-down initiative, but more bottom-up. So involving citizens, community, local stakeholder is very important. And also one of the key aspects is trying to develop a project that are based on science-based target and standard. So using this certification and framework help in assessing the environmental, social and economic impact that this investment can produce. And it's also a way to be more transparent and in some way engage private investors, because projects that are referring to international or shared standard also making them more attractive for private investors.
Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you for being here and sharing the Lombardy story with us.
Thank you.
And also a heartfelt thank you to all of our audience. For more BIOFIN-EU news, don't forget to visit our website and find us on social media. Until the next episode, thank you very much for listening.
BIOFIN-EU